Hey, I'm Mark Evans. Life for me. Well, I'm a single dad, doing my best to give my little girl, Sophia, the world. I work as a construction foreman, grueling hours, tough conditions. But I'm determined to make sure she has everything she needs. It hasn't been easy, especially since her mom, Lisa, left us 3 years ago. Sophia was just 5 then, and it felt like my world came crashing down. But somehow, we've made it work. My sister Emma and her husband Jack have been absolute lifesavers. They help out when I'm buried in work. And in construction, crazy days are the norm. Just the other day, my buddy Tom said, "Mark, I don't know how you do it. Single dad, tough job, and you never miss a beat with your kid." I shrugged it off, but inside, it felt good to hear. Sometimes you need that. Sophia's turning 9 next week, and I've got a huge surprise planned. I'm gonna leave work early. Yeah, the guys will probably give me grief for it, but it's worth it. I called up Emma. "Hey, I need a favor," I told her. Without missing a beat, she replied, "Let me guess, Sophia's birthday." "You got it. Can you pick her up from school and keep her busy for a couple of hours? I want to set up the house." "Of course, we'd love to. What are you planning?" "It's a surprise, but trust me, she's going to flip." After I hung up, I couldn't help but think back to the day Lisa left. It hit like a punch to the gut. But now, I'm proud. Sophia's thriving, she's happy, doing great in school, and we've built this solid little life. Sure, there are nights when I'm exhausted, barely holding it together between work and helping with homework. But then she hugs me and says, "You're the best dad ever." And in that moment, all the fatigue melts away. Now I'm rushing home, my heart pounding with excitement for Sophia's birthday surprise. But as I pull into the driveway, something feels wrong. The house is dark, and Emma's car isn't there. I fumble with my keys, calling out, "Sophia, princess, you home?" Silence. I flip on the lights, and there she is, huddled on the couch, tears streaming down her face. "Daddy," she cries, running into my arms. "What happened, sweetheart? Where's Aunt Emma?" Through sobs, she manages to say, "Mommy came to school. She said we were going for ice cream." My blood runs cold. Lisa was here. Sophia nods, trembling. "She brought me home and said she had to go." "Daddy, I'm hungry." I spot a note on the coffee table, Lisa's messy handwriting unmistakable. "Mark, had to run. Important business, Sophia's fine. Don't make a big deal out of this, LL." Rage bubbles up inside me, but I push it down. Sophia needs me calm. "It's okay, princess. I'm here now. Let's get you something to eat." As I heat up some leftover pasta, Sophia's small voice wavers, "Daddy, don't be mad. This isn't the first time." I nearly dropped the plate. "What do you mean?" "Sometimes Mommy comes to school. She says it's our secret. I didn't tell you 'cause I was scared you'd be angry and Mommy wouldn't come back." I kneel down, looking into her tear-filled eyes. "Sophia, listen to me. You did nothing wrong. I'm not angry at you, okay? I love you so much." She nods, burying her face in my shoulder. After she starts eating, I step into the hallway and call Emma, my voice tight with anger. "What's wrong?" she asks, immediately concerned. I tell her everything, my hands shaking with fury. "We're on our way," she hisses. Hanging up, I take a deep breath, trying to keep it together for Sophia. When I return to the kitchen, I force a smile. "Hey kiddo, how about we still celebrate your birthday? Aunt Emma and Uncle Jack are on their way." Her face brightens a little. "Really?" "You bet. It's still your special day." 20 minutes later, Emma and Jack burst through the door, arms full of presents and a slightly squashed cake. "Happy birthday, sweetie." Emma beams, her smile only a little strained. Jack ruffles Sophia's hair. 9 years old? You're practically grown up." As they fuss over her, Emma pulls me aside, worry in her eyes. "What are you going to do?" I run a hand through my hair, my mind racing. "I don't know. But this can't keep happening." Jack joins us, his voice low and serious. "Mark, you've got to do something. This is messed up." I glance over at Sophia, giggling as Emma helps her open a present. "I know," I say quietly. "I'll figure it out." But right now, it was all about Sophia. Emma squeezed my arm reassuringly, and we sang happy birthday, ate cake, and watched her open her presents. For a while, The fear and anger that had been gnawing at me faded, replaced by the joy of celebrating my little girl. As the evening wound down, Sophia yawned, her eyes heavy with sleep. I tucked her into bed, my heart aching when she clung to me. "Daddy, you're not going anywhere, right?" she whispered, her voice small and tired. I kissed her forehead. "Never, princess. I'm always here for you, always." After she drifted off, I joined Emma and Jack in the living room. The happiness from the impromptu party had evaporated, leaving behind a heavy, uncomfortable silence. Emma was the first to speak. "Mark, this can't go on. Lisa's putting Sophia in danger." I nodded, my jaw clenched tight. "I know. I'm going to fix this. I have to, for Sophia." As they left, promising to help however they could, I sat in the quiet house, my mind racing. One thing was crystal clear. Things had to change, and I was ready to do whatever it took to protect my daughter. The weeks following Sophia's birthday were a whirlwind. I was determined to get to the bottom of Lisa's erratic behavior. I couldn't let Sophia catch wind of what was happening, so I started working discreetly. First, I reached out to Sarah, an old friend and a family lawyer. Over coffee, I laid it all out: the strange visits, the unpredictability, the risks. "Mark, this is serious," Sarah said, her brow furrowed. "We need solid evidence of Lisa's negligence. Start documenting everything." I nodded, my mind already forming a plan. "What about hidden cameras?" "As long as they're in common areas of your house, that's legal," she said. "But be careful. We need to do this by the book." That evening, I got to work. I installed cameras in the living room and kitchen, carefully hidden so Lisa wouldn't notice if she dropped by. The next day, I visited Sophia's school. The principal, Mrs. Rodriguez, was horrified when I explained the situation. "Mr. Evans, I had no idea. We will absolutely help you document any unauthorized visits from your ex-wife." Back at work, I confided in my buddy Tom. "I need your help, man. Can you keep an eye out for Lisa around town?" Tom didn't hesitate. "You got it, Mark. I'll be your eyes and ears." As the days passed, a disturbing picture began to emerge. Lisa was showing up at Sophia's school at random times, always with some excuse to take her out. The school staff, now alert, started keeping detailed records. Then one evening Tom called me, his voice tense. "Mark, you're not going to believe this. I just saw Lisa at that dive bar on 5th Street. She was all over some sketchy-looking guy." I felt sick to my stomach. "Thanks, Tom. I owe you." I did some digging and found out the man's name was Derek, a guy with a record that included theft, fraud, and drug possession. The thought of him being anywhere near Sophia made my blood boil. Meanwhile, Sophia was starting to open up more. One night, as I tucked her in, she grabbed my hand, her small fingers trembling. "Daddy, I'm scared when Mommy comes." My heart shattered. "Why, sweetheart?" She always seems different. Sometimes she smells funny, and she gets mad really easy. She makes me promise not to tell you things." I hugged her tight, fighting back tears. "You can always tell me anything, princess. Always." The next day, I called Emma. "I think Sophia needs to talk to someone, a professional." Emma agreed immediately. I was thinking the same thing. "I know a great child psychologist, Dr. Chen. She might be able to help Sophia process all this." I made an appointment right away. Dr. Chen was warm and gentle, immediately putting Sophia at ease. After the first session, she pulled me aside. "Mr. Evans, Sophia is carrying a lot of anxiety about her mother's visits. It's good that you brought her in. With some work, we can help her feel more secure." As weeks turned into months, the evidence against Lisa piled up. Her visits grew more erratic. She'd often leave Sophia alone for hours. The cameras caught everything. Lisa stumbling, clearly drunk, arguing on the phone, and even bringing Derek to the house when she thought I was at work. One night, I spread out all the evidence on the table with Emma and Jack. "This is damning, Mark," Jack said, shaking his head. Emma squeezed my hand. "You're doing the right thing. Sophia needs stability." I took a deep breath, the weight of it all settling in. "I know, it's just, I never wanted it to come to this." "Lisa made her choices," Emma said firmly. "You're protecting your daughter." I nodded, a sense of resolve washing over me. It was time to take action. The next morning, I called Sarah. "I've got everything we need," I told her. "What's our next move?" Sarah's voice was steady. "We filed for full custody and a restraining order." Are you ready for this, Mark? It won't be easy. I thought of Sophia, of her fear, her need for stability. I thought of the life she deserved. I'm ready, I said. Let's do this. Everything was set. Sarah had coordinated with the police, and we were ready to catch Lisa in the act. My stomach churned as I kissed Sophia goodbye that morning. Remember, sweetie, Aunt Emma is picking you up today, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Sophia nodded, blissfully unaware of the tension hanging in the air as she hopped onto the bus. I called Emma. You ready for this? As ready as I'll ever be. Don't worry, Mark. We've got this. Pretending to leave for work, I parked a few houses down, my heart pounding in my chest. The hours dragged by, every minute feeling like an eternity. Then, right on cue, Lisa's beat-up car rolled into the driveway. I watched from my vantage point as she hurried Sophia inside, then sped off, barely 10 minutes later. That was it, our moment. I sprang into action, dialing the police. She's gone. Sophia's alone. In minutes, squad cars surrounded the house. I rushed in alongside the officers, finding Sophia curled up on the couch, confused and scared. Daddy, what's happening? I scooped her into my arms, holding her close. It's okay, princess. Everything's going to be okay now. Outside, chaos erupted. Lisa came screeching back, Derek and Tao, both of their faces falling when they saw the police. What the hell is this? Lisa shrieked, panic seeping into her voice. An officer stepped forward. Ma'am, you're under arrest for child endangerment and neglect. As they cuffed Lisa, another officer turned to Derek. Sir, we have outstanding warrants for your arrest. It was over in minutes. As they were led away, Lisa locked eyes with me, a mix of anger and desperation burning in her gaze. I looked away, my focus entirely on Sophia, who needed me more than ever. The following weeks were a blur of legal meetings and court appearances. Sarah was a powerhouse, presenting the mountain of evidence we gathered. Dr. Chen's testimony about Sophia's emotional state was particularly damning. Finally, the day of the custody hearing arrived. I sat in a courtroom, rigid with Sophia between me and Emma. Across the aisle, Lisa sat pale and drawn, her usual bravado stripped away. The judge reviewed the evidence, his expression growing sterner with each passing minute. When he called on Lisa to speak, she broke down, tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry, she sobbed. I know I messed up. Please just give me one more chance. I love Sophia. The judge turned to me. Mr. Evans, do you have anything to say? I stood, my voice steadier than I felt. Your Honor, I've heard these promises before, but actions speak louder than words. Sophia deserves stability and safety. That's all I want for her. After what felt like an eternity, the judge gave his ruling. Based on the overwhelming evidence of neglect and endangerment, I am terminating Miss Walker's parental rights and granting full custody to Mr. Evans. Additionally, I am issuing a restraining order against Miss Walker. Relief washed over me. It was done. As we left the courthouse, Tom, Jack, and Emma surrounded us, their faces beaming. You did it, man. Tom whooped, clapping me on the back. Emma hugged Sophia tight. It's all over now, sweetie. You're safe. That night, we had a quiet celebration at home. As I watched Sophia laugh with her aunt and uncle, I felt the weight of the past few months lift from my shoulders. Later, as I tucked her into bed, she looked up at me with those big brown eyes. Daddy, is Mommy ever coming back? I took a deep breath. No, sweetheart. But that doesn't mean she doesn't love you. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes. But I promise you, I'm not going anywhere. You and me, we're a team. Okay? She nodded, snuggling into her pillow. I love you, Daddy. I love you too, Princess, more than anything in the world. I knew there would be challenges ahead. Sophia would need time to heal, to process everything that had happened. But we had each other, and that was all that mattered. Now I have a question for you. If you were in my shoes, would you have given Lisa another chance? After all the neglect and danger she put Sophia through, would you have done things differently? Drop your opinion in the comments below. Your perspective might help someone else going through a similar struggle. If you found this story engaging, give it a like, it really helps the channel. And if you want to hear more real-life stories about overcoming adversity, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next video.